Those of you who aren't familiar with the IOOS Association, and especially since we're part of the agenda, I'll give you a quick snapshot. We're the membership organization of the 11 regional associations. So we work on behalf of the network to build communication and collaboration, to facilitate the relationship with the IOOS office and across the network, across the enterprise, really. But most importantly, we have a role in advocacy. We advocate for IOOS funding, with the IOOS reauthorization and with other relevant policy as it may arise. Importantly, we are bipartisan and policy neutral, so we work across the aisle. So 2025 was a challenging year, as you heard from Krista, but so kind of how the year played out. We started the year at an appropriation level, so coming in from FY25 with a continuing resolution at $42.5 million. So that was the funding to the IOOS Regional Observations line. We saw the president's budget proposing to completely defund the program. And so obviously that was very scary, and scary for a lot of programs across NOAA and across the federal agencies. We did a lot of advocacy. We were really encouraged when the House and Senate marks both came out with proposed increases to the IOOS line, with the House proposing us at our full authorized level of $56 million, which was what we were requesting. And then we saw a bipartisan bill enacted, and IOOS ended up, we can go right to the second slide. We ended up right in the middle at 47.5. So this was really a nice surprise, I would say, and also the largest single year increase we've ever had. You saw from Chris's slides that we've had a nice gentle increase over several years, but this was a nice big jump and reassurance of the value of the program. So in addition to our normal advocacy cycle over the last year, we had to call on our champions in Congress for a lot of help as things got stuck along the process, at different points along the process for getting funds added to awards. So everything from getting them unstuck from the queue for approving the awards, and then to get the money into the IOOS account from O&B so that it can be fully funded on time, and then to get the NOFO out. And all along the way, the GCOOS region and the Gulf champions have been really critical. I want to especially thank Senator Wicker, Representative Wiesel, and Representative Weber, who've been, like I said, critical. Next slide. This is a different version of the graph that Krista put up, and it just focuses in on that IOOS regional observations line. The top row is our authorized level. You'll see some asterisks at the 56 million and 26 and 27, and I'll get to that in a minute. But again, just kind of showing how the president's budget has been all over the place. House and Senate approves and enacted have all been very favorable. And then what our request has looked like. In the past several years, we're really focusing on that authorized level, and we've been pretty successful in that. So as Krista already mentioned, President's budget for FY27 did come out at a high level earlier this month, and I think we can infer that there's going to be another proposed defunding of IOOS. I don't think anything that was proposed for defunding last year is going to magically have a number next to it this year. So next slide. Reauthorization. So a bit on authorization versus appropriation. The authorization is the law that establishes the mandate for the program. So the first IOOS law was passed in 2009. Our most recent reauthorization was in 2020. So that expired. These are 5-year authorizations. That expired at the end of fiscal year 25. But we already have, and it authorizes a funding level. So that's what Congress says. This is what we think this program needs to be successful. And so we already have authorization bills, as Kristen mentioned, moving in both the House and the Senate. We're really excited to see it pass the full House last month during our IOOS spring meeting, so that was something to celebrate. And it has 25 bipartisan sponsors in addition to Representative Wiesel, who introduced it. So just really encouraging numbers there. The Senate bill introduced by Wicker has 7 bipartisan co-sponsors. And it has a couple of pathways in the Senate. As a standalone bill, it did pass the Commerce, Science, Transportation Committee back in October. And as Krista already noted, in March, the Weather Act was being marked up, and Senator Wicker added the IOOS Act to that as an amendment, and that passed the committee. So 2 pathways there, but also since it has passed the House, the Senate can consider the House bill. So a couple of different ways it can move forward, which I think is probably good. There is one difference in the Senate bill from the House bill that may be a stickier thing, and that is that the Senate bill has proposed that each region receives a minimum of 7.5% of the appropriated funding. This is kind of a neutral thing on our part. We worked with them to come up with the percentage that made sense, given this is a competitive program, to allow for, some certainty in a baseline funding amount, but also flexibility to meet regional priorities. So that may or may not make it into the final version of the bill. Next slide. So again, just kind of highlighting the bipartisan championship that the program has, and again, the importance of the GCOOS region and the GCOOS advocacy and all of this. Part of our strategy is to get members of Congress to lead and sign on to a letter to their appropriations committees that state a priority, right, to fund, in this case, to fund IOOS at our requested level, the $56 million. For comparison, so last year for the FY26 budget, we had 6 original leaders of that, Isel and Weber included. That was our most signers ever last year. So we had 97 signers, 18 of them Republicans, the most signers, most Republicans. And this year we beat that number. So it was really exciting and encouraging. So for FY27, again, a letter led by Isel and Weber, thanks to them, along with bipartisan colleagues. We had 104 signers and 19 Republicans. The Senate letter generally hovers around the same numbers year to year. Last year was led by Senator Wicker and Cantwell with 28 signers, 3 Republicans. So 2 of our 3 Republicans coming from the GCOOS region. This year, we'll see how we do. The signatures are actually due today at noon. So hopefully we beat it. As of the update yesterday, we already had 28. So if a couple more snuck in, then we'll do a little bit better. Next slide. Oh, that's it.
Yep.
Thank you for stepping in. We have time for a couple questions.
While we're working on getting the presentation up, I'll say hello and a quick introduction. I'm Laura Picariello. I'm the director of Texas Sea Grant, housed here at A&M University. I am newly director officially as of October. I was interim for a year, but I've been with Texas Sea Grant since 2018, and so I'm thrilled to be here and to talk with you all. And the ocean observing systems are the foundation of the science that make all of our coastal science work. And so I'm thrilled to be here to have an opportunity to talk a little about what we do at Texas Sea Grant and kind of give an introduction or a reintroduction. Since we've gone through so many transitions, thank you for popping the presentations up. And I really look forward to some additional discussion and collaboration this afternoon on how we can better support GCOOS, the ocean observing systems, and continue to elevate the amazing science that's being done here. So to take it from the national level and down to the very local level, we'll talk a little bit about Sea Grant and what we do here in Texas. Will this work if I do this myself? No.
No, you don't have to still ask.
All right.
For you to see.
Sounds good, thanks.
Yeah.
So just to acquaint everybody with Texas Sea Grant and what the Sea Grant program is organizationally, we are also a NOAA-funded, federally authorized program. We are a partnership between NOAA and the state of Texas and Texas A&M University. We are housed here at A&M College Station is our headquarters. However, we have hubs in both Galveston and Corpus Christi, as well as several agents throughout the coast, which I'll point out later. We are a part of 34 programs across the country. So every coastal Great Lakes state and Guam and Puerto Rico all house Sea Grant programs. So we are a part of a very large network that works collaboratively, and yet we all have our state priorities similar to the regional priorities in the IOOS system. And as I mentioned, we are an authorized program as well through the National Sea Grant College Program Act. So next slide. Our mission is to improve the understanding, wise use, and stewardship of Texas coastal and ocean resources. And to do that, all of your science is foundational to making that happen. We are a science-based group and educational research entity. And so, getting to the next slide. We operate similarly on omnibus packages, and so we operate on a 4-year cycle. We are currently in our 24 to 27 strategic plan cycle right now. While this plan does run through 2027, I am already in the process, and if you just hit one more next, it will pop up on the next slide.
Oh, sorry.
We are already going into our strategic planning for our 28 through 31 cycle, and that's going to be happening starting imminently and throughout the summer. So you will be hearing from us about our strategic planning so that we are aligning with not only National Sea Grant and NOAA, but also our local stakeholders and our needs here in Texas. So that's, item number one of things that are going to be happening to pay attention to. And we operate across all 4 of these focus areas. And I'm just going to kind of do some highlights today on what we're, a couple of things that we're working on in each of these spaces. So we have healthy coastal ecosystems, sustainable fisheries and aquaculture, resilient communities and economies, and environmental literacy and workforce development is the structure of our strategic plan. So go ahead. Okay. The way that Sea Grant is structured overall, we are a 3-tiered approach to implementing our mission. We are research, education, and extension, and that all comes together to meet this mission of improving and understanding, the stewardship of our Texas ocean and coastal resources. Next slide. The Texas Sea Grant model is structured on this idea of integrating research and extension and engaging our communities in the work that we're doing. And this is where all of our partners and all of our communities come into the mix. And if you hit one more time.
Okay.
It's weird when I'm not doing this myself. So at the top of the screen, we've got our coastal communities, our industries, our folks that are in need of the science that we are working with. And throughout that transition in that process, we have coastal agents, we have specialists, we have university researchers, we have a community of folks that move information from what's happening on our coasts and in our industries through to what's happening with our universities, with our research institutions, with our resource agencies. And this is a constant feedback loop that really drives everything that we do with Texas Sea Grant and with our partners. Next. So the first bucket of that is the research side of this. And, as a part of our commitment and our funding through NOAA, we fund 40% of our federal NOAA omnibus budget is dedicated specifically to competitive research. So we fund every 2 years, we run a biennial research competition to fund specific science that is relevant to the Texas coast and that is relevant to the needs of our stakeholders. And next slide. We fund not just A&M, but we fund institutions throughout the entire state of Texas. So that research competition is open to everyone. It is open to all research entities. The goal for us is to be pairing that research with our extension team, which I'll talk about in a moment, so that we're making sure that not only is the science relevant, but it is actually getting back to the communities directly that we are working with. And it's really that goal of bridging that knowledge to action and really making sure that we're boots on the ground. And one more time on the next slide. So our next research competition is coming up. This is another thing that we're in the process of preparing for. As we finish our strategic plan, we'll be going straight into an RFP cycle. So I wanted to make sure that everybody is aware that we will have an RFP coming out for another 2-year funding research cycle, likely in December. It always varies a little bit. Sometimes it's December, sometimes it's January, but I will say December, and we will hope for that. I'm super thrilled to announce that we have gotten our funding for the year from NOAA. And so we can actually announce the 5 research awards that we selected last year, which can now finally get started. So we do have 5 research awards that are starting now across our focus areas. So we have some oyster mariculture research. We have 2 proposals with coastal flooding specifics. And we have 2 based on PFAS. Dr. Quigg is one of our awardees this year, but we are excited to be launching these research projects that are paired with our extension team, and that press release just went out yesterday. And then the other half of our team is our extension team component, and these are the folks that are the boots on the ground in the field. For the majority of Sea Grant programs, I think at the national level, over 70% of Sea Grant staff are extension professionals. Our job is to get science into the hands of people who need it. And so this is really the bread and butter of our team, our extension folks who are throughout the coastline, and I'll introduce you to all of them in a moment here. But we do everything from facilitating meetings, hosting webinars and seminars like this, to hands-on workforce trainings, technical assistance, citizen science, and we'll run through just kind of a couple examples of those projects in a moment. But I did kind of want to introduce you to our team, because as we at a national level have gone through significant transitions, as we recently talked about, we've also gone through a lot of transitions internally and at home, and so this is a lot of resetting. We'll go one more time, sorry. So we have almost a completely new leadership team, including myself. We have a research director, Mia Zwolinski, who is here in College Station, as well as our fiscal officer and our communications team that are housed here. I am actually based down in Galveston, and Chris Hale, who is our extension director, is based down in Corpus Christi. So even our leadership team is spread out throughout Texas. We have the heart of our program, who are our county agents, and our county agents are coastal and marine agents that are specifically dedicated to all of the coastal and marine needs of their county. We have 7, they cover 8 counties technically, and they are partnered also with our land grant program, AgriLife. So they do a little bit of everything. There are generalists in the coastal and marine space, but they're the ones that sit with their county commissioners. They have advisory committees in their county. They are the local boots on the ground that know the needs and can communicate to the groups specific to the needs of those counties. And they're phenomenal agents. I don't know when they sleep. And then we also have a team of specialists, and our extension specialists are topical specific, but they function throughout not only the coast, but also the broader Gulf. A lot of our projects extend throughout the region, and in partnership with our other 3 Sea Grant programs, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. So we have 2 coastal resilience specialists, one in Galveston, one in Corpus Christi. We have our aquaculture specialist mid-coast, and we have a fishery specialist and program manager down in Corpus Christi. So we are expanding this team. You'll be seeing a few additional job openings pop up now that we have our funding for the year, and we feel confident about doing that. So stay tuned. We'll be seeing a couple of additional specialist positions popping up here in the next few months. So I'm just going to cover really quickly just a broad what we do in each of these focus areas, just to give you a little taste of what we do and how we do it. And I'm happy to talk more throughout the day about some of our specific projects and how we collaborate. But for our resilient communities and economies focus area, our primary strategic plan goal is ensuring that our communities are prepared for, can adapt to, and can recover from chronic disaster situations and hazards. So we do everything from disaster preparedness and response work and community planning for resilience. That little book in the, next one, sorry. Yeah. I'm not cueing you guys well because I'm looking at it here. The homeowner's handbook, we have just done our third now version of the homeowner's handbook, and it has just been released. It is a full guide on everything you need to know to live on a coastline and deal with extreme events, whether hurricanes, tornadoes, and not only do we provide that out to communities, but we also do workshops and educations with communities. It helps count for points on community rating systems for communities that go through that scoring process. We also do some projects. Dr. Tussaud, I think, is here. Will be here later. We're working on some localized flood sensors, so pairing some of the ocean observing system and the GCOOS system data with more localized sensors to really hone in on nuisance flooding and very localized information in a couple of our counties dealing with road closures due to nuisance flooding, things along those lines. In our fisheries and aquaculture area, our goal is to support sustainable, production of seafood in various forms between wild fisheries, aquaculture, recreational fisheries, and to educate public and communities about seafood. So we work across commercial fisheries. We work with seafood safety. We just recently are finishing up a project on mercury and selenium in seafood in Texas as one of our major funded projects. We have been working nonstop to help the quickly emerging oyster mariculture industry in Texas. For some of you who may not know, Texas was the last state to quote unquote legalize oyster aquaculture in bay system waters, and that only developed. The law was passed in 2018, and regulations were put in place 2019, and regulations were put in 2020. So it is a very new industry, and we have gone from 0 to about 25 farms permitted and another 40 in queue within the span of a couple of years. So that's been pretty intense, and a lot of information needs around that industry right now and that industry development. Our Healthy Coastal Ecosystems is focused on just that, making sure that we're monitoring, enhancing, and restoring ecosystems. And so in this space, sorry, one more time. Oh. We do a lot of work with marine debris prevention. We just recently hosted 2 weeks ago the 4th annual Texas Plastic Pollution Symposium down on the Galveston campus. Important work being done there. We do a lot of citizen science monitoring that helps pair and ground truth some of the observing system science. We have a red tide rangers program, which is a citizen science program that helps support red tide detection information. We do a lot of wildlife response, and we do a lot of habitat restoration. And then finally, we take a lot of time doing across all of our other focus areas, environmental literacy and workforce development work. And we do that both at a formal and an informal level, and through workforce development training. So we do fund students in various ways. We have a community engaged internship that'll be launching again this summer that brings students out to the field to work with us. We do workforce training. We have a commercial fisheries training program that we manage. We do a lot of safety training, boater safety and commercial fishing safety trainings. We do a lot of informal education, hands-on events, activities. We are partnered with the Texas Master Naturalist chapters all along the coast for informal education. And I wanted to highlight that this was actually delayed. The Sea Grant program nationally funds the CNOUS Marine Policy Fellowship Program. That is a program that happens annually. It is 1 year in DC, and we place fellows. It's a graduate fellowship program. We place fellows in both executive and legislative offices. Normally that cycle runs so that the applications are in the fall and they start on February 1st. But with a lot of the changes that have been occurring nationally, there have been a lot of delays. As we know, it's been very hard to get NOFOs out and others. So the timeline has shifted, and CNOUS is open now. Applications are due on June 3rd to the respective Sea Grant programs. So if you're in a state that does not have a Sea Grant program, you can apply through a Sea Grant program state. So we already have applications from Oklahoma and Colorado this year as well. And the cycle has changed as well. So that placement is our current class. Texas has 3 fellows that are headed to DC right now that are starting on June 1st. So that cycle has now changed to go from June to May each year. So that's a great policy opportunity for folks who are really trying to understand how science informs policy, particularly at that national level. Just our impacts card. Our cycle is a little weird. We run from February to January on our calendar because we all like to have different calendars. So we're still working on our 25 impacts. So those are our 24 impacts. But Sea Grant work across the board, annually has over $100 million economic benefit to the communities that we're serving on industry benefits and trainings and resilience. And there's a whole series of metrics there. These are all posted online. So that's our program. That's what we do. As I said, it relies heavily on the science that comes from our ocean observing systems and the other science and folks in the room here. So I'm here for questions if you have any questions. Otherwise, I look forward to our conversations later today.
No questions.
Okay, now I would like to introduce, all of you know him, Dr. Jorge Brenner, to give us our GCOOS update.
Thank you, Kim. Well, good morning, everyone. It's great to see you guys here. I don't have words to say how happy I am and how ready we are to celebrate GCOOS 20th anniversary after, the last, 18 months or more than a year for sure. I think we couldn't be here today if it wasn't for the big effort that, the family, the GCOOS family, including all of you guys together, we put the effort since last year and have done to be able to, I won't say survive, but to make the case that we're relevant to society. And I think Dr. Chris Arsayus this morning, she was very humble in her presentation and everything that IOOS does, but and she cannot even tell us everything that they do and how they were essential also for the survival of the programs. Thank you, Krisa. Your team, it's something that we know some of what you guys do in terms of, internally at NOAA, but I can't imagine how hard has been this job over the past more than a year. I'm also, in addition to thank you guys for being here, I want to thank my team because, again, with everything that has happened, including over the past several years, you guys have seen how GCOOS has had the opportunity to grow and bring more work to GCOOS with many of you guys with the additional influx of funding. I'm thinking of IRA and BIL. Some of you guys are familiar with all of those additional projects. And we just couldn't have done it without, the GCOOS team that we now have. Everybody has important responsibilities and a role in working with you guys as well. So thank you guys, thank you everyone with the GCOOS team for your work. I'm also joined here today by 2 other people that they have not stand up, but are my colleagues and peers, directors of other regional associations. Deborah Hernandez, director of SECORA, and Gerhard Kuska, director of Maracruz. Please stand up so everybody knows you. The reason I wanted to have you guys here is to join the joy and join us in celebrating GCOOS. You guys have been here before I had joined GCOOS, but you also had bring a lot of the history and the good things that have happened at the IOOS family, basically. Thank you for that. I'm gonna just show you a presentation of with my updates, and I believe that Shao will need to share the next slide, please, Shao. Okay. I'm also waiting for a couple of other people that hopefully I'll have the opportunity to introduce to you, but we'll see if they're able to join us later. So I also like to start my presentations reminding everyone what is the mission of GCOOS. It's very concise, which is we're here to provide you guys with on-demand information that is accurate and reliable for all things that we care about the Gulf, which is the people, the ecosystem, and the economy. We've been doing this now for 20 years, and we would like to continue doing it, and we're here to continue bringing the benefits of GCOOS. Throughout the last 6 months, GCOOS brought 7 new members to our family, including Inspired Weather and 4Geo. These are voting members, so institutional members, and our individual members who we have a good number of people who are interested in joining GCOOS and being the loop and becoming more informed and become data providers and users. And we have Deborah Kumar, John Dietrich, Courtney Bouchard, Paul Arnott, and Caleb Flower. All of these people have joined in the last 6 months. We have a total of 131 voting members and 70 individual members. So we're becoming a very large family, thanks to all of you.
Next slide.
With the work that Felimon, Tuomo, and Marcus have been doing on the data management side and fiber infrastructure, we continue to have a growing number of data partners. We're up to 62 individual institutions who provide data to GCOOS on the mooring side. This is not even counting all the people who provide other type of data on the gliders and other type of observations. But the ones that we keep really good track and they are attached to our data platform, 297 sensors, stations with a total of almost 1,800 individual sensors. Felimon and Tuomo maintains these servers that they are the bread and butter and the core of the observations of GCOOS. Felimon also maintains the NTL project, in which he has done really big strides over the past 6 months in enhancing those products to their operational partners. He also was able to publish the model handler, which is a new tool that is able to bring regional models being published in a recurring platform to provide them an outlet to be able to come out. He also worked with his team in maintaining and reprocessing, reanalyzing a nutrient database that has been at GCOOS for several years. It was developed by Bowman and Bessie many years ago. And then Felimon saw the need to fix some issues with this huge database. If you haven't seen it, it's millions of data points collected by these agencies over the past few years. Next slide, please. The dashboard that I mentioned that Felimon enhanced for the NTL projects. These are the current data meters, IDCP meters, offshore maintained by the partner operators. Felimon was able to develop a new platform in which each of these operators now they have a landing page and able to see and monitor their operations as a tool for them to keep track of their own data flow into GCOOS and how that data also flows to other operators as well. This dashboard now maintains a sentinel view of what is happening in the outer continental shelf throughout mostly the central and western Gulf. Next slide, please. This is summarizing what we're hoping that is going to be our glider season this year in the Gulf, sponsored by GCOOS. We will have between 2 to 4 deep missions. These are the long-term glider missions lasting for about 3 months, in which we will have our funding going through our partners, through our core funding, to maintain these transects throughout the shelf in the Gulf. That will be deployed as soon as the hurricane season starts. In addition to that, we keep maintaining our collaboration with the Navy, and they will provide us with 4 Navy gliders this year. So we will have about 8 missions of the long-term missions throughout through the Gulf. That's in addition to other work that is done in the West Florida Shelf, more shallow work by our partners at Montgomery Lab and USF, that they develop hybrid to shallow missions throughout the entire year as well. One other thing that I want to share, that you're looking at Gandalf, which is our piloting tool. There's only one mission right now. This is High Alive, a long-term mission sponsored by also one of GCOOS projects, the Topicera 2 IRA project, in which we're developing new missions, turning new sensors, additional sensors in addition to temperature and salinity, for us to collect more information throughout the Gulf. This mission has been in the Gulf for about a couple of months. It still has at least 1 more month to go, I'm thinking. The idea with these additional sensors is that we can collect data and start mapping the habitat for important sensitive species such as rice as well in the Gulf. What you see in the blue dots are the Argo floats, and in yellow are other floats, which are the biogeochemical floats. So we're getting ready for the season, getting all this infrastructure in place, as well as Bob Curry and Shadow, who manage Gandalf tool. They added the Ocean Sea Star vehicles as well in preparation for the season. NOAA is going to deploy some of these vehicles soon before in preparation for hurricane season. Also, Xiao and Bob added sea surface height as a new layer for pilots to have that information available while piloting. And they also did new attribution to the Argo flow information as well. So the Gandalf, it's a tool that is constantly in evolution and following the guidance from our pilots and the community that we serve. Next, Xiao, please. Tomo here, one of our data managers and in charge of our cyber infrastructure, he has been working with a couple of other GCOOS PIs, Dr. Bob Given from Colorado and Dr. Nat Walker from LSU, in developing a workflow that now runs at GCOOS to derive these contours of sea surface height that before they were coming to us via University of Colorado, and now they are being derived by Tomo, following the guidance by our PIs, and now these products are it's a combined product using in the background Dr. Nat Walker's sea surface temperature at LSU together with our mapping of the surface height. The idea is that this will continue to become an operational product that GCOOS will continue to develop on our CAD. Next, please. This is the marine heat waves project that I believe Laura just mentioned that we started developing since a couple of years ago with several people, including our partners at Dauphin Island Sea Lab, fellows that we've had, such as Renata, that some of you might have met from previous meetings at GCOOS. Xiao took on the effort of developing this platform, which is a full portal. It's just more than one single app. It's a whole website that has at least two products. One is the original product being marine heat waves mapping of current waves using buoy data of existing observations that now Xiao has automated to be running on daily basis. And the second product is what is shown in the map in the screen, which is using satellite data from microwaves, remote sensing satellites, that they allow us to have a much larger coverage throughout the entire Gulf Basin and understanding where and in space and time heat waves are developing. Xiao now is working in adding AI capabilities and agentic capabilities for users to ask questions to this portal. So we're looking forward to see the more development that Xiao will be adding to the heat waves. This project, it's just one of our initial efforts that some of you might remember that we discussed a year ago in Galveston when we had a meeting about the role for GCOOS could have in developing these products to speak for thresholds, such as the project that Felimon leads on the NTL, that is about current data, heat waves being on temperature data, and so on. GCOOS is hoping to, in the future, continue developing these products to alert on certain thresholds relevant for environmental in the Gulf. Next slide, Xiao. This slide speaks for our species-based or biodiversity projects that Grant and Megan and Pallavi have been working now for 3 years, beginning with the cetacean and the Sea-to-Atlas, and then followed by the Sea-to-Atlas project. These are funded via Fisheries Service, via IOOS, in which we were committed to develop this biodiversity atlas focused on GIS layers and information that is available for the restoration managers working on the restoring populations after the oil spill of these species, be able to have the information that they need at hand. So we proposed to them to develop these catalogs and atlases that they had very, very successful. As you can see, the cetacean just at the beginning of this year, I think it's been several months that it reached more than 1.6 million data access. Specifically for cetacean. Sea-to-Atlas is a project that we just finished in year 1, and the idea is that we will spend still the foreseeable future, so at least 2 or 3 years more, if no more than that, building a robust database of 5 species of sea turtles throughout the Gulf. These projects have been also really important for GCOOS to develop additional educational content that it has been shown at education conferences. The team continues to work very close to the species experts, the SMEs of these 2 different groups throughout NOAA and Fisheries Service to be able to ensure that we develop exactly what they need and are relevant tools. More recently, for example, Pallavi had added daily data that is on all slicks in the surface of the Gulf, using data that is produced by different organizations that it had been already synthesized from remote sense data. And Megan had worked on a model for vessel strike lethality for some of the species that we're dealing with. So these projects are becoming really comprehensive. Our partners are really happy, and they are available for everyone. What is shown in the slide is a poster that Megan showed at the Ocean Science Conference earlier this year in Glasgow, in the UK, about the project. I'm going to share with you what we've been doing lately with GCAN, which is our Gulf Coastal Acidification Network. These are sub-networks that some of the regional associations manage to support ocean acidification program of NOAA. GCAN has been with GCOOS for many, many years, and our coordinator is Dr. Natalia Lopez back there, and she's funded via the National Academy's GRP program. She's one of our fellows that took into the responsibility of taking GCAN to the next level since the fall last year. All of her efforts have paid really important benefits, and she just got additional 10 new members for GCAN that had signed off to keep supporting GCAN. She maintains, together with Dr. Ximping, who from UTMSI, who is the chair of GCAN, they maintain a very large network of stakeholders and a smaller group of that is a steering committee of GCAN. So because of all of those efforts of Natalia and Dr. Ximping, who, I mean, we just got additional 16% additional members since last year to GCAN. And she was able to engage also, very importantly, students community and stakeholders communities, and develop a ocean acidification day of action that they came up with this idea together with our neighboring CAN organization, SOCAN, that is also managed out of Sephora. So Emily Hall, she's one of our board members, and she's the coordinator of SOCAN. She's not able to be here with us today. But yeah, they started the year in 2025 really hard, developing several new events, webinar series since last year as well, and more recently in February attending the St. Petersburg Science Festival, which brings about 800 kids, I mean, to visit this event, and also we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the next slide. But more recently, Natalia and Pallavi, they came up with the idea to develop a story map, which story map is a GIS-based story that has a good amount of visual aids and maps and geographic maps into the story, and they are developing one for GCAN and ocean acidification in the Gulf. The one example that I'm showing right now here in the slide, it's all the GOMEC data. These are cruises sponsored by NOAA that happens every few years, every 3 or so years, and they have all that data already included. And so this is an evolution, and hopefully in the next meeting we'll have this project completed. Just to end with GCAN, more recently, Natalia was able to work with NOAA's OA program and develop the idea to have a workshop sponsored by GCOOS that will be a companion of the main workshop that OA organizes every year and brings all the CANs, all the people that is involved with different acidification networks in May in this year in Silver Spring, and we will add a communication workshop, a science communication workshop for new students, I mean for grad students and new professionals in working ocean acidification. And we selected 5 students throughout the Gulf that they are going to be supported to come to this meeting. They're going to join the NOAA meeting, the GCOOS sponsor workshop as well, and have the opportunity to collaborate with other scientists and meet other scientists throughout that week in Silver Springs. On the ocean, outreach and education program that Kristen Yarincik has been managing at GCOOS for many years. I hope that most of you, if not all of you guys, know Chris by now. She continues to do an amazing job, and she organized our annual Outreach and Education Council meeting. This council that is informed by GCOOS board members and other members and other PIs and collaborators. We try to meet every year in Alabama, which is a common location for us. And this past year, just this past December, we had the opportunity to discuss important aspects of our IRA-funded projects and marine heat waves projects and get very important outcomes out of that meeting, including new proposals, more work for the marine heat waves work, and really exciting work with potentially, hopefully, with the Girls and Boy Scouts of America, who are now integrating some of the results that we're doing from our RIP current projects with Alabama and National Weather Service into their merit badges. So this is something that hopefully we'll be able to also share more details and complete over the next few years. Chris also has been managing some of the support that we are providing to Flower Garden Banks, National Marine Sanctuary, who have needs to standardize data and develop comprehensive data sets of some of the data they have. So Chris is managing a couple of contractors who are helping us develop those time series and databases that will live at GCOOS and will be also available for, of course, for the managers at Flower Garden Banks. Chris also leads every year our delegation attending and co-organizing the St. Petersburg Science Festival in St. Pete in Florida. And this year, Grant, Chris, and Natalia attended and represented GCOOS. They also show information about GCAN, as I mentioned before. And more recently, and just last week, Chris and a team of board members of GCOOS were able to select our recipient of the Matt Howard Fellowship Award, which is an award that we provide every year for the last 4 years to 1 or 2 students throughout the Gulf region. And this year we selected a PhD candidate at oceanography here at A&M, who is Otoniel Palacios. And my understanding is that Otoniel is joining us here today, Chris?
He said yes.
Later? Okay, so we'll see Otoniel later and be able to provide him with an award. Just really quick, these are new projects, old projects, and new proposals submitted by GCOOS. A couple of new projects over the past 6 months. We added a new rises well detection project that is led by USM. GCOOS is supporting as a co-PI via Bob, Courier, and Megan, who are developing technology and science for detection of rises well, looking at acoustic data collected via glider missions. That USM is running in the Eastern Gulf, basically the critical area for the rises well. So this is a 3-year project. I think we're in year 2. So this is deriving exciting results that Bob and Megan are having, and preliminarily for this analysis. And more recently, we joined a project that has been approved by NOAA Restore Science on fish spawning aggregations. These are the aggregations that some of the benthic and reef fish develop to reproduce throughout summer, not only during summer, and they become really vulnerable for unsustainable harvest. And then this project is led by University of Southern California and the Nature Conservancy, and GCOOS is maintaining the website and publishing the data that will be generated by this 5-year project. Also, for some of you who are GCOOS PIs in the current award, we submitted the no-cost extension at the beginning of February, so it's been a bit of time. NOAA and IOOS are reviewing these no-cost extensions for the current 5-year award. Hopefully, over the next month or 2, we'll hear about it and be able to share that with you guys. We submitted 2 new proposals. One of those is a disaster supplement that was made available via IOOS from NOAA, that several regional associations in the East Coast were involved, including GCOOS. GCOOS is purchasing a new glider as part of this disaster supplement enacted by U.S. Congress. The other proposal is our renewal for 5-year, our core funding, that many of you guys are GCOOS PIs, whether existing or new PIs. This is a $25 million proposal that was recently submitted by TAMU. It took us about 6 months to put it together. Krista and Kristen in their presentations, they talk about the delays of this NOFO and the timeline, how we had to play with all of this. But we were able to successfully submit a proposal for $25 million. These are $5 million each year, but we've never been funded at this level. So I just wanted to share with you guys that this is something that we will have to see what U.S. Congress enacts for us on an annual basis, as we have been doing for the past many years. And then I don't know if any of you are also putting together OTTs. So this is another program that is funded by NOAA, managed by IOOS. There's an offer right now for this ocean technology transition funding opportunity that supports developing especially new sensor, new technology, new models, new workflows for data management. And we've been also very busy at the regional association having conversations with people who has ideas for these projects. So this is working well for us. These are just details of that $25 million proposal for the core funding renewal that I just mentioned. The performance period for this proposal actually is changing a little bit. So I modified the start of the performance period to September 1st. So this is giving us a de facto couple months of gap in our funding, but we will use the no-cost extension. The plan is to use the no-cost extension for that. But the project hopefully should start September 1st. I'm showing some of the highlights of the proposal that we put together. I'm going to share with you those. We were able to discuss with Tamu, who manages all of our IOOS funded projects, an IDC rate of off-campus of 26%, which is really good benefit of the project and be able to fund some of your project ideas. We are including support for a graduate student at GCOOS. It's supporting one right now, but we want to do it throughout the next 5 years in this new award. We're also adding funding for Chris to continue managing the outreach and education program that will have funding to develop tasks and events. We're also adding capacity for the GCOOS non-for-profit organization to look into options to diversify our source of funding as well. And we will also add funds to a contract or a sub-award for one of our partners to maintain the new GCOOS glider that I mentioned. In addition to that, the portfolio includes 19 sub-awards and projects. 9 of those are renewing, who are basically the core funding, the core work of GCOOS. Those are the work that our partners doing, maintaining and running glider missions, maintaining the high-frequency radar network. Some of you maintaining IFCB, so the imaging flow cytobots network as well, and 10 new projects that add to the diversity and making GCOOS a comprehensive network, observation network. So some of those projects add more work on plankton and HABs and IFCBs. Some of them add more work on models. Some of those projects also add more work on with the Florida banks that we would like to continue working with them and be able to support them. We did lose some funding last year that it was part of one of our previous proposals that those funds, because it was from NOAA to one of the agency offices within NOAA, it was repurposed, unfortunately. So we're hoping that this is the project that is going to allow us to support the flower garden banks. So the proposal has been submitted. We should know by June, according to the IOOS office, of the result of our proposal, and also later in the year, what is the budget that Congress is going to enact for the regional associations and for GCOOS. And with that, we will know where we're going to be able to fund. And I'll just end with this slide. This has been mentioned by both Krista and Kristen. Previously, we also talked at length yesterday in our board meeting that we held in the afternoon about the congressional, how busy we've been on developing our congressional outreach, which is really rewarding because this is something that allows us to check with the real world, who is funding us, of how are we doing and what questions they have for us and what is that they like about IOOS and GCOOS and what they don't like about us and how we can enhance our work. So you heard how we're half the way the reauthorization of the IOOS bill that just recently early March passed the full House. Now it has been sent to the Senate by Senator Wicker of Mississippi. Hopefully this is going to be completed before the end of the fiscal year of the government. We're having our fingers crossed. We saw this $5 million increase that both of them, Krista and Kristen, talk about it. We went from 42.5 to 47.5 million for all the IOOS regional associations in FY26. We're in conversations of everyone in the family of how those funds hopefully will reach out, reaching the regional associations and GCOOS. And we are currently, because we have not stopped to be on an active outreach campaign, and we're all working on continue keeping these offices informed of our work. Again, very rewarding work. It's the best thing that I can do as director to ensure that that everybody throughout the Gulf region is happy with what we do and it's able to use it for the benefit of sustaining and supporting this community. So with that, I'll end. And I'll stop here. This is a picture from our last Outreach and Education Council in Alabama in December last year. Again, thank you everyone for being here with us.